Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Juan Miranda and the move that he is going to be making to AC Milan because Barcelona will be receiving a massive compensation after this sale. Later in the video, we're also going to be talking about a Girona player named Savinho, who is considered as a Brazilian right winger, and Barcelona are eyeing the player. And then lastly, I do want to quickly give my thoughts on Julian Araujo, which has been a topic that has been greatly demanded by the audience, and whether we could see Julian Araujo return back to FC Barcelona. So this is going to be a very jam-packed video. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. I'm happy that you guys are here. If you guys are Barcelona fans, this is going to be the channel for you. And so everything is going to be organized on the timeline down below. If you do want to skip to a certain part, you guys can, so because again, everything's going to be organized and you guys can go from there. So let's talk about Juan Miranda first. And so it has been stated, according to Fabrizio Romano, he has stated that AC Milan have now reached an agreement with Juan Miranda to join in 2024. The personal agreements have already been agreed. The contract will be valid until June 2028. AC Milan will offer Real Betis 2 million euros. Now this is important because again, Barcelona do have a clause in the contract of Juan Miranda when he joined Real Betis that any future sale, Barcelona would receive 40% of that future sale, meaning that in total Barcelona is going to be receiving 800,000 euros. Yes, I wasn't being sarcastic. Barcelona is not going to be receiving like 10 million euros or 6 million euros off of a sale like Juan Miranda. It's only going to be 800,000 euros. And so first of all, I do want to say good luck to Juan Miranda. Yes, it was possible that he could have continued to be a Barcelona player because we once considered his return back in the summer of 2021 when he was going back and forth with Real Betis, sometimes Barcelona, going back to Real Betis. But because of Alejandro Valdez's emergence, that is what made Juan Miranda go to Real Betis. Now here's going to be one of the questions that I do have about like this whole thing, right? Something that really does bother me. Every time Barcelona sell one of their academy players, I don't know why their value is so low. Like I feel like that is something that Barcelona have to work on in terms of their brand in the academy. Like their academy brand has to be much stronger, and we want to be able to say that our players, when they go out there to different clubs, they should be valued at a much higher price tag. And the reason why I'm making this point here is because things like this do exist. Like having a better brand on your academy, it does exist. There has been a report that was distributed by The Athletic, and the author was Sam Lee, and he was talking about how why is Man City so good at selling their players? Because every player that they do sell to different clubs, their youth academy products are sold at a very good amount. And the reason why Man City have been so successful in selling their academy players at a good price tag is because they show why those players can be very successful at their next club, which is why other clubs that want to buy from Man City are willing to bid at a higher price tag. The reporter Sam Lee did state this. He said, "It is also evident in how they play. It is no exaggeration to say that some of the football played even by the club's under 11s resemble Guardiola's first teamers. This is being seen up and down the country and across Europe, leaving an impression on the scouts and the coaches." So Man City are showing that, look, those players that you do see from Pep Guardiola's starting 11 at Man City, yeah, we have the exact same type of profiles and the exact same type of personalities through the academy because we teach them the same. So I do hope that Barcelona end up in that position because, like, for example, I'm very nervous and I'm worried about how much Ansu Fati might potentially be sold for. Like, we know that once Ansu Fati does come back, he'll score his goals, he'll get his assists with Brighton. Yes, he is going through a slump right now and going through a 2 to 3 month injury, but I think that eventually Ansu Fati will be at a very good level by the end of this season. And I don't see Ansu Fati being sold for no less than 60 million euros. He has to be worth more than that amount due to his age, his contract, what he does provide on the field, and his ceiling. And I feel like deep in my gut, there's going to be clubs out there that are only going to be offering 30 or 40 million euros, which is not enough. It's just too low. The brand of Barcelona's academy must be better. So now let's move on towards the next topic of today, and let's talk about Savinho. So before I even talk about this player, let me say one thing. Every time there is a team, like a underdog team, doing very well, whether it's domestic or in Europe, there's always going to be other powerful clubs willing to take apart that team. Like for example, Borussia Dortmund assembled such a great team back in 2013, and what happened right after that season was over? Teams like Bayern Munich, teams like Real Madrid, teams like Barcelona, teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, all wanted to break down Borussia Dortmund. They wanted all of their players. The same thing happened with Villarreal in 2022. They had so many great players on that year. They went so far in the Champions League that there were so many clubs at the end of the season willing to buy and bid for their players and just break apart that team. And the same thing is going to go on to Girona. Girona have so many good players, it's not even funny. And one of them is Savinho, or we can call him Savio, because there has been sources coming from Brazil that have stated the following. Girona star Savinho is on Barcelona's radar for 2024. The player is a aware of the interest and Deco has already spoken to him. And if you guys do not know who Savinho is, he is a 19-year-old left winger. He can also play on the right side and in the middle, and his preferred foot is his left foot. Now what's crazy about this player is that he can play in all positions. Like I've said, he can play on the left wing, on the right wing. We have seen him in multiple positions. I think that because he is a left-footed player, maybe if Barcelona do grab him, they might place him on the right wing, even though we do see him a little bit more on the left wing with Girona. Now here's the thing, I don't know how to pronounce the club's name, so I'm sorry if I said this wrong, but Troyes or whatever, right? Troyes have sent Savio to Girona on loan, so Girona do have a loanee with them, just like how Eric Garcia and Pablo Torre are loanees. Girona have a lot of loanees, so Savio is currently on loan, and ever since he joined Girona this season, he has been on fire, because as a winger, when you look at his goals and his assists and what he has done in La Liga and the Copa del Rey, he has scored 4 goals and has provided 4 assists in La Liga and has scored 1 goal in the Copa del Rey, and in total he has 5 goals and 4 assists in 16 matches. So he is almost averaging 1 goal contribution per game. So he's very effective, very efficient, and that is why Barcelona are very interested in the player. One of his strengths is his dribbling, it is his agility, his creativity, his 1v1s, his decision making, his crossing, his finishing. There are some things that should be worked on because, again, you know, he's very young, he's only 19, of course he's going to be having some weak points, but his shot volume needs to increase, and also his weak foot needs to get better. But everything that he does on the pitch with Girona, he does all of those things with conviction, and we need players like that up front, players who go on to the attack and go in with a lot of conviction. So I really wonder how Barcelona might approach this. If Deco is truly interested in Savinho, could we potentially see him go on the right wing position and maybe compete for the spot of Lamine Yamal? And if he does play on the right wing, what does that say for Estevao Willian? Because Estevao Willian has offered himself to FC Barcelona. So could we see Deco say, we're going to be bringing in Estevao Willian and we're going to be bringing Savinho to the club? Or is there a debate being held in the club on which Brazilian player they should bring in? Or could we see Savinho go to Barcelona and maybe compete for the spot of Joao Felix? We don't know. This could be taken in multiple different lanes. So I would like to think that if Barcelona are truly interested in Savinho, that Savinho is also very interested in joining, and for 2 reasons. It is because Girona and Barcelona are willing to work with one another. Look at how Pablo Torre went to Barcelona, Eric Garcia went to Barcelona. Look at how Oriol Romeo, who was at Girona, came back to Barcelona. The football between Girona and Barcelona are very compatible, which is why they're so willing to trade players. And so maybe Savio is looking at this and saying, okay, so I can see that their football is compatible, so if I go to Barcelona, my career will only elevate. And another reason is because maybe Savio might look at this opportunity and say, wow, if I go to Barcelona, I can play with Vitor Roque and also with Rafinha, 2 Brazilian players who are trying to make it at the club. Maybe Savinho is going to want to join in. Now here's a twist though. Let's all keep in mind that the clubs that Savinho is in right now, which is Troyes and also with Girona, because again, he is on loan, both of these clubs are under the City Group. They're under this umbrella that the City Group have created. And the amount of clubs that the City Group does have is just insane. Like they have obviously Man City, they also have New York City, they also have Melbourne City, they have Girona FC, Mumbai City, they have some teams out there in Japan, I believe, and then one of them is also Troyes. So either way, whether Savinho goes to Troyes or Girona, he's going to be under the City Group, and that's important because I don't know if Manchester City and Pep Guardiola are eyeing Savinho, and if they show interest in the player, I don't know how Barcelona is going to be able to compete with those type of deals that Man City might be able to offer him. The only way I can see Barcelona winning this battle is if, you know, the player says, I only want Barcelona, I'm committed, I've always loved Barcelona since the day I was like 7 years old, 6 years old, 2 years old. That's the only way Barcelona can win this battle. But if he doesn't say things like that and he doesn't push for that move and doesn't put the media pressure, then I don't know how Barcelona would be able to compete against Man City for the player. And honestly, I don't even expect the player to even say anything to the media in regards to what he could do in the future. Like, let's say he says, I want to go to Barcelona. I have loved Barcelona all my life. I don't really see the player saying that, because recently, about 10 to 12 hours ago, the coach of Girona was actually very upset with the way that Alex Garcia showed interest to Barcelona. He said that his dream was to eventually play for the club, and the coach of Girona was like, you know, I don't like this. I think that he was wrong, and that at Girona, we only need people who are 100% from Girona. So maybe that might push Savinho away from actually saying anything. So now lastly, I do want to speak about Julian Araujo. And according to Sport, they have stated that towards the end of the season, Barcelona will have to make a huge decision, whether to keep Julian Araujo or let go of the player. Now look, again, if you guys were to ask me 2 months ago, what do I think would be the future of Julian Araujo? I probably would have told you he has a future with this club. But if you ask me now, I would tell you maybe. I don't know. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the new positions and the new roles of Cancelo and Koundé does push Julian Araujo out. Because now we're talking about Julian Araujo fighting for the spot of Koundé. And Koundé is a world-class right back. The first option right now for Barcelona's right back position is Koundé. The second option is Joao Cancelo. Julian Araujo is going to have to be those two players if he wants to have some sort of minutes at the club. Now, we may argue, right, that maybe Cancelo might be our true definitive left back, and then having Koundé on the right back position with Julian Araujo as the second choice in case Koundé ever does get injured. I can see that happening, but I think that if we really want to see Julian make a true difference and really showcase to Xavi why he's a very important player, not only does he need to show that he can be a great goal contributor, but also defend very well. Because what is the whole point of, let's say, for example, Koundé gets injured and then we say, well, we'll pick Julian Araujo over Cancelo because Julian Araujo knows how to attack better. Cancelo also knows how to attack very well. So what makes you think that Cancelo is ever going to go into third choice over Julian? And so Julian is going to have to add something extra into his arsenal. He's going to have to show that he's a great defender, which is why I do say, like, he needs to showcase what makes him separate from the other competitors. Because when you tell me now about how I think about Cancelo defending on 1v1s, he's horrible. And that is where Julian Araujo can capitalize. And so those are going to be my quick thoughts on Julian Araujo. I think that he does have a future, but he's going to have to really work hard to improve as a player. And that is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.